Well, corruption, a prison break, being on the run, crossing borders and being off the system entirely. The Thabo Bester escape drama has raised many issues about the criminal justice system in South Africa, and it necessitates a closer scrutiny of prisons across the country. Legal researcher and commentator Adv Selby Makgotho has been writing about this, and he joins us now. Advocate, thank you for being with us. To some extent, this seems to be a problem about a specific prison in Mangaung run by a specific private company, G4S. But you say the whole system needs to be looked at. Tell me more.
Thank you very much, Francis. Good afternoon to the viewers, and thanks for the opportunity. My point of departure was that this particular matter of Thabo Bester had actually called us into a thinking that something at the prison system across the country is fundamentally wrong. It is not the first time that we hear of a high-profile escape in as much as this Thabo Bester is concerned. The only difference is that this particular one was so much staged that it was almost like a movie wherein for almost a year, no one, including those in authority, knew that Thabo Bester was on the loose and was living lavishly in and around Johannesburg. If you would recall, Francis, sometime in 2005, the former president did commission the Jali Commission of Inquiry, which produced a voluminous report. I think it stretches up to 1,225 pages. And most of the problems that he found there, as per the recommendations, was that corruption in the prison systems existed and ought to be nipped in the bud. The questions around corruption, as we have seen how Bester operated, primarily revolved around the relationships between the prison warders, the correctional facilities, and the external service providers. It is quite clear that there is a lot of criminal activities, criminal syndicates operating in prisons, drug criminality, and quite a number of problems that have been alluded to. And if you look at the department's annual report of last year, a total of 117 prison escapes were recorded. So my article was actually asking the pertinent question as to how do these criminal syndicates operate. How do they find it easy to grease the hands of the officials in question, and such that they end up costing the taxpayers of South Africa huge expenses? One does not even know how much it did cost the state had it not been through this corrupt means to get the flight from South Africa to Tanzania. So all these criminal elements lead to corruption and ultimately undermine the criminal justice system in the country.
So just a prison break is dramatic enough, seemingly on the surface, but it doesn't seem to be that unusual. Like you said, in 1 year, 117 escapes, although that did come down, I think, to 22 escapes in 2021. So we're looking at 2020. But above 100, I mean, that's astonishingly high. Do you agree?
I do agree. Actually, even 20 is a lot. I mean, one should be mindful of the fact that prisons, by their nature, are the key justice sector institutions where the victims should feel relieved that the perpetrators of crime have now been arraigned or have now been put in those jail cells. If, however, for whatever reason, be it money or otherwise, the prisoners or the perpetrators find it easy to escape, that comes at a huge cost to the taxpayers, but it also undermines the criminal justice system. So one escape, in fact, is equally a lot. We expect that at some point, as the society should start asking these hard questions, these pertinent questions, as to why is it possible that even in high security prisons, it becomes easier for the prisoners to escape.
Thank you for reminding us of the Jolly Commission, which I remember covering as a young journalist. I mean, that was in the early 2000s. It was commissioned because of concerns about corruption. But like you rightly say, what has been done since then? What is clear is that there's still collusion between inmates and prison guards at times, bribery. You say that prison officials need to understand their role in society. Tell us more about that.
Briefly, the problems that are confronting us today in as far as the prison system is concerned are the very, very same problems that made the government at the time to commission this Jolly report. The Commission of Inquiry by Jolly itself explicitly and succinctly put all these issues at hand and indicate that it is indeed a problem. But coming back to the issue that you are asking, indeed, the problems that are coming in relating to the relationships that are now appearing to be an issue. I mean, Francis, we should ask ourselves, how is it possible that a prisoner can have money in prison and allegedly with some prison officials acting as proxies? How do these criminals get drugs in prisons? Those are some of the things that need answers. But over and above that, hence I said in the article that money seems to be the source of all evil, because it would appear that some of the prisoners are more well-resourced financially and they are able to abuse, manipulate, and exert pressure on the prison warders. So I'm not even sure if these prison warders, before they get appointed, are being vetted. But that is some of the things that I think at some point we need to be sure that they do happen. You'll remember once more that on daily basis, the prison warders or the correctional facility officials are the ones who are spending most of the time with these prisoners. So it becomes easy to have some little bit of controversial relationships with them and ultimately execute all these criminal and corrupt activities.
All right, let's leave it there, but thank you. What you're pointing out is this vulnerability, because people are in close quarters. And of course, we as journalists don't always get to go into the prisons. I've been in once or twice, but there's that scrutiny element that you spoke about as well. That was legal researcher and commentator Adv Selby Makgotho.